Hello, this is Mrs. Mackey, and today we're going to learn to justify your steps when you're solving problems. So, how do we use the properties that we watched in our previous video to justify our work? When we talk about justifying, we're meaning show your answers. So, it also is called justify your answer. So far, I've had you show the steps numerically, algebraically, showing me no mental math. But now we're going to add next to our step the property that allows us to do that. You will not have to do this all year long, but we will keep revisiting and revisiting. This is the beginning of proofs, and proofs become very important in geometry and algebra 2. Okay, here's our first problem, and yes, this is an I do, even though it's half covered up. Sorry. For these videos, to save time, I already have them solved, and we're just going to add in the property. When you're looking to add the properties, you're having to compare one line to the next line to see what's different. So we always start with given. This is the problem given to us. So now I'm going to compare this line to this line and see what's different. As I look here, the parentheses are gone, and there's a property that lets me get rid of the parentheses. It starts with a D. That's right, distributive property. So I'm going to write distributive property, and I do not mind if you slightly abbreviate. Slightly abbreviate, don't put DP. Okay. So now I'm looking at my next line, and I'm comparing, these are the same, these are the same, these are the same, but they did something else. They're subtracting 4. And notice that it's subtracting 4 from both sides. Okay? So they showed their work slightly different. Textbook companies and test makers often, instead of writing the -4 like we do when we do it together in class, they often write it on the same line, especially in a proof part. So right here, this is called the equality property. I can do the same thing to both sides, and right here I'm subtracting. So equality, prop, and which one is it? Subtraction. Okay. Now, I think, personally, that this is a waste of time. This right here. I would never normally give you a problem that kind of is showing this right here. But they just call this, it's often called like the arithmetic or simplifying. And that's what they did on the next line. So I think that this problem's a little overboard, and if I had realized that before, I probably would not, oh, no. I probably would not have used that. And now it's not letting me get rid of it. Oh, well, we'll just leave that slop there. I'm sorry. I'm not having a good time of it. Okay, simplify. Okay, so they simplified here too. Okay, so now I'm looking, and what they've added at the bottom is this right here. What are they doing? That's right, they're dividing. So, once again, they did it to both sides, so it's the equality property, but this time it's of division. And then here they simplified. Some people write that this is the answer on the last line. Okay, now I want you to notice there are 2 steps here that are always the same on a 2-step equation. Equality properties. Equality properties, on this problem, it was subtraction and an equality property of division. That's why it's called a 2-step equation. Everything else really is not using properties, it's just using things. Oh, but I did forget the distributive property at the front, but that's okay. It's still, once we got here, we're at a 2-step equation. Okay, make sure this is all written down. You can kind of ignore my slop, I hope. But now we're ready for a guided practice we do together. I did forget to mention that as you're doing these kinds of problems, it is helpful to have your property list in front of you, just to help you remember the different properties until you know them really well. So that's my suggestion. I'm going to cover this up. It was written in extra time. Okay, so here we are, and we have our problem. So starts with a G, what goes on the first line. I hope you thought of it, given. Okay, now I want you to compare the first line to the second line. Find what's different about it. Write it down. If you need more time, pause it. 3, 2, 1. Hopefully you saw that they are adding, right? Just adding the opposite. And they did it to both sides, so this is equality property. You could call it also, because they added the opposite, you could also call it the inverse property. But because it's done to both sides, the equality property is the better answer. That's what's something I like about algebra. So many different ways you can come about it. Okay, so here they just simplified. And once again, I think that that is a waste of time to write it on a separate line. Okay, so now we're down here, and that's another simplify. Okay, I want you to do these last two steps, though, on your own. What did they do here in line 5 to get to line 6? Okay, hopefully you got the equality property. This one is of division. And then the last one is either answer or simplify. I guess if we're doing the pattern, simplify is better in this problem. Okay, so justifying the work is how you prove your answer. You must show your work step by step. No mental math is allowed. It's probably why they're doing all those simplifying ones, but I think that just takes up more space. And the main thing here, though, is that you write the property name that lets you do that step. TTFN, ta-ta for now.